And today I'm gonna be going over my top 5 mistakes that I made on my fitness journey. What is up guys, Austin here, welcome to another video, and today I'm gonna be going over my top 5 mistakes that I made on my fitness journey. And these are definitely some of the mistakes I've made. I've definitely made a lot of mistakes, but these are just some of the top mistakes that I've made that if I did make these mistakes, my entire process would be a lot more streamlined compared to the other mistakes that I've made, and I have made plenty. And so the first one that I'm gonna be going over today is bulking and cutting. So this is definitely a top mistake for me because I always thought that you either had to be bulking or you had to be cutting. You can't maintain unless you want to go nowhere, but that is completely false. I always had the idea that you had to bulk to gain muscle, you had to cut to lose fat, and you always had to be in either one of these. You can't be in the middle, you can't have a middle ground, which is actually the most ideal position for you to be in. Because one of the things that I've realized over the past few years is that I've had my best results when I cut down to a body fat level or a look that I can maintain, and then just maintaining that look and feeling good about myself, feeling good about the way I look, feeling good about the way I eat, and just having an overall balance. And I think that's the mindset that we all should shoot for. Finding some sort of middle ground where you're comfortable with the way you look and feel and performance in the gym and just overall well-being and health. And another thing within this first category that I wanted to talk about is that if you are trying to cut or bulk, I mean, if your goals call for that, then by all means you can go for cutting and bulking, but I don't recommend that you do these cycles unless you are trying to lift as much weight as possible and you need to bulk to a certain weight, or you need to cut down for a physique competition, you just need to get to extremely low levels of body fat. One of the things that I would like to talk about is that for me, I found that I would cut or eat way too many calories at once. I saw that I was making progress on, let's say, a 500 calorie deficit, and I was like, man, things are going pretty well. So I felt the need to speed up this progress. And oftentimes I think that a lot of us see good progress, but we want faster progress for some reason. We just want to do everything faster. We want to get to our destinations faster. We just want to speed up the process. But I've learned along the way that if something is working well, then don't change a damn thing. Just keep doing what you're doing and keep progressing at that pace. Because as the saying goes, if something ain't broke, don't go fixing it. And so this should definitely apply to your health and fitness journey as well. If you are progressing at a reasonable and good pace and you're seeing great results, don't try to speed it up. But yeah, unless you have a specific time frame in which you need to achieve your goals, then I would say just keep on progressing at a reasonable and sustainable rate, because the more sustainable something is, the longer you are to likely keep on progressing on your journey and keep on doing it for the rest of your life. And now going on to mistake number 2, this involves progressive overload, which is the concept of progressively overloading your muscles or progressively increasing the stimulus for your muscles so that they adapt and get stronger and get better at what you're trying to do. And one of the mistakes I made early on was sacrificing form for weight. And often I would always chase a certain number for, let's say, squat, bench, or deadlift, or other lifts. And I would just keep on pushing and pushing. And sometimes my form was questionable, or not even just questionable, just straight up poor form. But I would sacrifice form just to do the amount of weight, just to say that I did it, just to be able to log it down on my records. And I can tell you that you should not sacrifice form for weight. You should never do this because you have a higher risk of injury, and if you're injured, then you will experience detraining, which is just atrophy of your muscles because you're injured and you can't train, and so you're definitely going to lose some of that progress that you've made, and that is not worth it. If you want to be doing this long term, then you don't want to sacrifice form for weight. If anything, form is the single most important thing you should pay attention to when you're exercising. It doesn't matter how much weight you have. And oftentimes when I go to the gym and I see people lift with piss poor form, I I just can't believe it. I can't believe my eyes. And I would much rather see someone lift no weight with perfect form than lift a ton of weight and have piss poor form. But that's just my 2 cents. But yeah, back to the topic at hand. Never sacrifice form for weight. If you have perfect form, then you are able to train the muscles that the exercise is supposed to train, and you will make better gains. And like I said earlier, you have a decreased risk of injury, which means you'll be able to train more because you're spending less time being injured and spending more time training. And therefore, you will be able to make gains for a longer period of time. Now to mistake number 3, which is definitely working out too much. I know when I first started, I would literally work out 7 days a week and hit each muscle group 1 time per week and just completely fry my body and just destroy it and just hit it once a week. And that was just not optimal for gains. I did the traditional bro split, doing like chest, back, legs, and just doing 1 single body part a week, which is not optimal. You want to be training each muscle group or body part 2 times per week for optimal gains. But the part that I wanted to focus on is that recovery is just as important as training itself. You want to be able to train and push yourself and progressively overload your muscles and body, but you also need optimal time for your body to rest and recover, because believe it or not, most of the gains that you make are not in the gym, but rather when you're resting and giving your body the time and energy it needs to recover, so that your next session in the gym you'll be able to push hard and go even harder. And of course, the optimal schedule to be working out depends on your lifestyle and your needs and how you're able to fit those needs into your lifestyle. And so for a beginner, I recommend going to the gym, starting off at around 2 to 3 sessions per week, trying to split up and hit each muscle group around 2 times per week. And then you can progress from there. You definitely don't want to jump straight in and go to the gym 7 times a week and just completely destroy your body, not giving the time it needs to recover. Because if you just go in too hard, let's say you're super motivated today to get started and work towards your goals. You go to the gym every single day, you work out, you burn out, you get major DOMs, and not only do you burn out physically, but from personal experience, I find that you also psychologically burn out because you went super hard and now you're just unmotivated because you're sore and you just don't want to go to the gym, because now you kind of associate that going to work out in the gym is associated with all this pain and suffering that you just experienced. And so it's kind of like a vicious cycle, and you want to be able to make this sustainable. That is the one thing I preach, is that you want to be able to make sustainable and long-term changes. And now moving on to mistake number 4 is not training legs. And so just as a disclaimer, obviously if you have a certain disability which prevents you from training a certain muscle group, then obviously you can't train it, and don't try to train it and injure yourself or just make everything progressively worse. But for me, when I first started out, I would not train legs. I would just do upper body. I would just do chest and back every single day. And I just didn't have the proper leg strength. And I find that every good muscle building and strength building program should include full body. You should work every single muscle group, because your body is not just one certain part. It's the entire body that you need to train. And I know that in high school, one of the weight training teachers that I had, he had this very good quote. It was, "The day that we don't need to train legs is the day we start walking on our arms." And at the time, I thought it was a weird quote at first, but now that when I think back on it, it's actually such a good quote, because we spend the majority of our day, if not our entire lives, using our legs to move everywhere, and it's such a huge part of our body. In fact, it's the strongest part of our body. It also accounts for about 40% of the metabolic rate. So about 40% of all the calories you burn goes to your legs. And that should kind of tell you how much strength and energy your legs use compared to the rest of your body. And so yeah, training legs is very important. It is literally the base of your body. It is definitely more quote-unquote functional to train your legs than anything else. Because if you were to completely stop working out and stop going to the gym and stop doing everything, you would still be using your legs to move around. If your legs atrophied, then you would struggle just trying to move and get places. Whereas your upper body, it's kind of fine that you don't have all the strength on your upper body, but your legs are super important just to help you do things. And now on to mistake number 5 is having an all or nothing mindset. And what I mean by this is that I often have the mindset that either that you are all in and super committed to reaching your health and fitness goals, or you're not. And this one mindset kind of gave me psychological damage in a way. It made me revolve my life around fitness, which I believe that it shouldn't. You should make fitness around your life, not the other way around. You should make this to enhance your life, to make your life better, rather than draining it and making everything around your fitness and devoting everything to that and not enjoying life and not being able to be flexible and enjoy everything else that life has to offer rather than just fitness. And of course, this applies to like 99% of you. I'm not saying the 1% who are like super intense athletes who have to focus on athletics and competitions, and that is actually your job. That's what you do to make a living. That's what you are passionate about. I'm not saying that. If that is what you do to make a living, if that is what you enjoy the most and want to devote your time to, then by all means do that. But for the average person, I think that you don't have to be all in and 100% devoted. It's all about consistency. I preach kind of like an 80%, 20% rule, is that you can focus all your effort about 80% and then 20% you can just kind of enjoy life and not make it revolve around fitness, using that 20% to enjoy what life has to offer other than fitness. Because let's say you are traveling somewhere for the first time and you want to be able to enjoy the food, you don't want to have to focus on your diet and your workout all the time. You can take some time off and just enjoy that trip and be able to 100% absorb what that trip has to offer rather than just focusing on your diet and all that. I'm just saying that fitness doesn't have to be the main focus of your life. Yes, it's very important to maintain your fitness and health, but it should not be the main focus. Your life is a division of a lot of different things that sum it up, and it's a collective experience, and fitness and health are definitely a good portion of that, but not all of it. I hope that makes sense. And then the last thing I want to talk about, this is kind of like a bonus mistake, not really a bonus. This kind of ties everything all together, and it's having patience. And so this kind of inserts itself into all the other things that I talked about. When I bulked and cut, I would often chase my results way too fast and not having patience, sacrificing form for weight. I didn't have patience as well. I always wanted the results like that, and I always wanted it super fast. And the truth is that all of this doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't even happen over a week. It doesn't even happen over a few months. The results of your health and fitness are going to take years and years of consistency and dedication. And this is the cold hard truth. Anyone who tells you that you can achieve your goal results in a matter of months or weeks is lying to you, trying to sell you something. And I just want to tell you the truth that you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And that's if you want to make this sustainable and a part of your life and changing your lifestyle, which is not an easy thing to do. It requires you to make long-term habits and make them sustainable in order to keep them up for the rest of your life. And personally, I think that is way more important, focusing on the health and fitness for the rest of your life rather than just for a quick short-term goal. I find that the most important thing to focus on, because all of us have the rest of our lives to do what we want, and to be able to do that for the rest of our lives is, I think, the greatest pleasure that any of us can reward ourselves with, rather than searching for a quick scheme or a quick diet just to try and solve all your problems in a matter of days or weeks or months. And like I said, this having patience part is provided that you are consistent and dedicated to your goals. Nothing's going to happen overnight. Nothing's going to happen in a matter of a few weeks or a few months, but everything is going to take years to do if you want to make it sustainable. And so having patience is the most important thing that I want to drive home. And that about wraps it up. These are the top 6 mistakes that I've made. if I had the chance to go back in time 5 to 10 years from now, I would tell myself to do these 6 things, and I think they would actually change my life. I feel like I would be a different person if I didn't make these mistakes. But hey, it's okay to make mistakes. Mistakes are a part of life. It's as long as you learn from these mistakes, then you will be a better person. But I'm just trying to share this, trying to put this out there to let you guys know that there's a way to streamline the process. You don't have to make these same mistakes that I did, and even if you did, it's okay. And like I said, as long as you correct those mistakes, you change for the better, you always strive for progress, always strive to be better than the person that you were yesterday, you are a better person in a sense. And so that about wraps it up. Like this video if you guys enjoyed it and learned something to apply to your everyday life. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you guys in the next one.